the thing by the scruff of the neck, as it should be in this moment. If anything,
Yeah.
I saw this estimate from this.
Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game. Today we're on Chemical Duel and we've got Santa Claus playing 8th Infantry and he's going up against Divinity Slave playing Donkey Kong. So we'll cover the decks, then we'll talk about the map, the matchup, the deployments, and then the game. Timestamps in the description. Timestamps in the description. Right, so this is the deck review for Divinity, and he's playing Corpus, Donkey Kong as we call it, Polish DK. So, 2 cards of supply here, which is sort of normal, but if we skip ahead to the Arty tab, you'll see that there's a Grad here, and a Pion, and some Vasilex, and some Mortars. It's very, very, very difficult to keep all this going. It's very, very difficult. It's basically impossible with 2 cards of supply. So I'd be, first of all, just get rid of the Vasilex. It's really bad. It's really not good at all. I want to like it, but it is not good. So I'd be getting rid of that. There you go. That's 3 AP already. Now you can get an extra card of supply. I would just get... well, I mean, your choice is between this forward deployed supply, where you're paying through the nose for only 300 supply, or this one, which is the same price, but for 500 supply. Obviously, it's not forward deployed. So, there you go. You've now got 3 cards of supply, and you can try and keep all this firing. So the Grad, right? I mean, we're skipping ahead here. The Grad is not as good as this thing, this Nebelwerfer thing. This can also shoot smoke. It can shoot smoke. It's got 140mm rockets compared to the Grad's 122s, and it reloads in less than 1/4 the time. And you get 4 in a card, right? So basically, what you do is you buy all 4 and you use them to like a Grad. But the problem is there's quite a high micro burden. You've got to load them all up and move them, all 4 of them. And given how buggy that is, can get you killed. So there is a high micro requirement, but it's very fun. It's very fun, and it shoots smoke. It shoots smoke, and it can maintain a constant battery of smoke, like a constant patch of smoke, because of how long it takes to reload and aim, and how long the smoke lasts. It can maintain a constant blanket of smoke in an area. So I bring this instead of the Grad and the Mortar. But you might say, well, I mean, this is a 1v1 deck, right? Or at least it's a 1v1 game. So yeah, it's up to you. But yeah, to give this a try, because it shoots smoke. I really, really like it. So yeah, I'd be getting rid of the Grad and bringing this. And then I actually get rid of this as well. So you've got 2 points free there, which can come in handy. But yeah, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. Or you could get 2 Pions now, right? Sadly, these only have a rate of fire, a salvo length of 2, unlike the Malka, which is 3, and so it's very, very expensive for what it is, sadly. But yeah, just giving you some ideas. You don't have to do it. But yeah, you need 3 cards of supply if you want to keep a Grad firing, or if you want to keep this thing firing. So just something to keep in mind. Infantry tab. So forward deployed SPG-9s, they can be useful. Sorry, just enjoying some delicious blood there. And, yeah, they can be useful. Forward deployed, I've seen people use them to good effect at the start, and then you sneak them around the sides and stuff because they're good stealth. It can be useful. Then you've got these guys who are 9 men with SVDs and an RPK. An SVD is like 2 machine guns, so that's 3 machine guns, which is like 6 rifles, so it's like 13 shooty for 65 points. The alternative are these guys. So 3 machine guns is like 6 rifles, so it's like 12 guns, and you get fewer of them, and you get a worse rocket launcher. So yeah, this is better. The one I like to use is these guys, the Niebeski Beretti, in the car. So you know, it's 10 plus 4, right? So 14 strength, shooty, but they do actually have 12 strength, which is very useful, makes them live longer. And they've got resolute. They are 15 points more than these guys. So that's worth keeping in mind. Between them, there's probably not much in it, really. Like, the SVD is really useful. And... yeah. I do like these guys just because they're so tanky. Anyway, Metis squad is a must-bring, really. 9 men with a Metis. It's really not bad. The Metis one-shots a 3-armor vehicle, which is many IFVs. It is not the BMP-2, which is all the Marder ones, or the upgraded Bradleys. Yeah, it's not actually that many 3-armor vehicles now that I think of it. It's mainly just warriors, but not the warrior replete. Anyway, it is useful. Then we've got military police. Yeah, these are a must-bring. I really like these guys. They're very strong at fighting because they're 9 men. I don't know if the Komar is still bugged, by the way. 12 AP rocket launchers were bugged, so that they one-shot 2-armor vehicles, whereas a 13 AP one will not. I don't know if they fixed that. Then you've got a forward deployed CV here, so you got a total of 4 CVs. The thing is, right, that's not enough CVs for 1v1. Oh no, hang on, there's 2 more. Okay. That's fair enough, 6 is more reasonable. So this is a forward deployed CV, and this is a forward deployed CV, and you don't need 2 forward deployed CVs. Why is that only 2 availability? Damn, that sucks. But so yeah, this is half the price. It's got a worse rocket launcher, but it's still got smoke, and it's actually got 2 more men, and it's literally half the price. And you don't need 2 forward deployed CVs, because if you want to forward deploy a CV, you buy this, and if you want an infantry CV, you buy this, right? So, you know, save yourself 50 points, and get a stronger squad, which is going to die less. And get yourself a Dow Niebieski Beretti. Wow, I'm loving that. I'm very Polish, as you can tell. Look, I've got my every true Pole has one of these, and this is mine. Proof of Polishness. So, yeah, it's a bit dusty in here. Blimey, I need to clean up. Yeah. So then you've got the triple flamethrower. Honestly, I used to use these a lot, and I got really annoyed with them. They're not as great as I want them to be. They're not that fantastic. I don't like them at all. Maybe you do. Maybe it works for you, right? Maybe it works for you, but I don't think they're that good. Maybe they are. Maybe they are good, and it's just in my head. But I vastly prefer these guys because they've got satchels and a good RPG. It's a really strong squad. Brings it in the Topaz 2A. Don't do that. This is very slow. It doesn't have smoke. It's just not very useful. Just bring it in the car. Maybe I accidentally clicked that, but then you've got the diversity. So basically, you get no conkers in this deck, and it's very, very difficult to deal with enemy stuff. And then an SPG 9. So SPG 9s, they can work, right? The thing is, I really like running 2 cards of diversity, and then you can bring in this thing. And there's your SPG 9s. It's got 2 SPG 9s on it, so it's actually not bad for 40 points. It is slow and so on. But yeah, I really like this thing. So if you're feeling, I mean, this can work, right? But if you're feeling like this isn't doing you any favors, I'd swap it out for a regulars with this. And then there you go, you've got some additional fire support there. But yeah, just an idea. R2 we already covered, so if you've got super duper micro, you get 4 of these instead of the grad. If you've not, then you might as well just run the mortars. Interesting. So this has less range, but you get 6 of them, it's cheaper, yeah, okay. And yeah, so it just depends how good your micro is, but this thing is really, really funny. I like it a lot. Sadly, it's only in this div, but yeah, I really do like it. And then, yeah, we spoke about how you need 3 cards of supply if you want all this firing. And, you know, you can do anything really. You can swap out the because if you're going to run my way, right, then you would run it like this. But you got to be honest with yourself. Can you micro this? Can you move all those transports constantly? I find it very hard, and I have 2,500 hours in this game, so just something to keep in mind, you know, otherwise you would run it like that. Tank tab, quote unquote. Yeah, so Malyutkas, you need them because you don't get many ATGMs. And then T55A. This is better now because its fire rate went up to base 8, which means it's actually 9 when you upgrade it, so it shoots faster than a Challenger. Then this is the coffin launcher, which is very, very useful, and this is another reason why you'd want 3 cards of supply. And then this is your 2 more CVs, because you need some CVs. And then 8 of these. Are these really doing you any favors? Genuine question. The thing is, right, you need as many ATGMs as possible. I literally run 2 cards of diversity, and this, and the Malyutka. Like, are you getting utility out of this? I think they're just crap. I really do, but, you know, maybe you're getting utility out of it. I don't, so I run it like that, and I bring the 2 cards of ATGMs here, and the 2 cards of ATGMs here. Like, this compared to, you know, this. Obviously, it shoots further, it's got more armor, but it's just slower, and... just love the refreshing taste of blood. I'm Polish, so it's the blood of Russian people. Anyway, so this is 4 men with ground surveillance rate, 6 men with ground surveillance radar. Wow, we're killing it today. So this can be useful because it's got 18 pen as well, which you'll notice that like nothing else in your division gets. Apart from these guys, which I think I do bring, but they're not actually that good. If you bring in this, then it can work. So I see. So you've max vetted it, right? And that does make the squad faster. But this transport is not special forces, so this transport does not get faster when you max vet these men. So there's not really much point in max vetting them unless you really are only bringing 4 in a game. Because if you down vet it, then that's your anti-tank, and then you don't have to bring these guys, right? Because you got some organic anti-tank, or inorganic anti-tank. Then more of this piece of junk. I mean, I'm just not a fan. I'm just not a fan. You could get these. They've got much better optics. Very good. It's faster. It's obviously, you know, it struggles against vehicles, but this deals 10 AP, which means it's one-shotting a 1 armor vehicle if it hits. But because it's 50%, in reality, it's on average 2-shotting a 1 armor vehicle and 4-shotting a 2 armor vehicle. Do you see what I mean? It's just not very good, so I don't like them really. But I've seen people use them. Hopefully, because I haven't seen the game yet, so maybe it's useful, but I would prefer this. And then this sniper is like the worst sniper in the game, because it's not even a sniper, it's an SVD, so it's classed as a DMR, even though this says sniper. And you can see how happy this guy is. He looks like a Play-Doh man. What's going on with his eyes? Is he following the camera? Yeah, he is. Ooh, weird. Ooh, look at his eyes tracking there, following the camera. Ooh, scary. It's like the Mona Lisa if it was made out of Play-Doh and had a bad sniper. This is the worst sniper in the game for the price. So don't bring that. Instead, right, get this. There's very, very few nations in the game that can do this, but you can bring airborne forward deployment team in a helicopter, and it will start airborne, and it will forward deployment as airborne. It really helps you on things like urban front lines. You can get some pretty zany places with those at the start. So that's the way I'd be running it. Like, these snipers are really bad. It's really bad. I might as well just show you now. So compare it to the American sniper. These guys get 2... This is a DMR and this is a sniper rifle, right? And you compare that to the Polish one, the name of which I've forgotten. Sniper. That's my Polish accent coming through there. Yeah, I got no idea. But it only had the DMR and then a submachine gun, and it didn't have the proper sniper rifle, and it cost the same amount. But it's special forces. Wow, it doesn't matter. So I wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't be doing that. This has SIGINT. I don't think it's very useful, really. AA. So we got some Strelas here. The thing is, right? So maybe you need some forward deployed Strelas. Maybe. For your opener. But really, if you're doing this funny heli thing, you should be buying a jet at the start. Or because this div gets really bad AA, you could get this, which has Strelas and ZU on it, which makes it good against infantry. And you know it's 50 points, which is pretty cheap, but they're pretty steep. But you would lose the forward deployment, right? You would lose the forward deployment, but then you wouldn't need this, because this is just that except wheeled, so it is faster. So I'd be getting rid of this, and I'd be getting that. And let's just say no forward deployed Strelas, because you should be covering your opener with a jet anyway. You've got one of the best jets in the game. Or you could stick with this, right? And you could do a bit of both, whatever. But like, okay, so this is also forward deployed. So you definitely don't need this. So also between these two, right? The gun is really good on this. You can do the towed AA gun run at you strat. And so that's what you want it for. Because it's towed AA, it's just kind of tanky, whereas this is classed as a vehicle, so this would die in one hit. And so you don't want the Strelas on the top, because it costs you 10 more points, which is about a third of the price, just less. And you lose 3 availability, which is the more important part, right? You could literally bring this at 2 vet and get the same. And so I'd be getting this one, and then I'd be bringing a second card of this Jod thing, because you can really get air bullied. The alternative is, you know, down vet this, get rid of that 3 AP spare. Heli tab, so these are kind of pants, to tell you the truth. Delicious blood. My drink is the same colour as the Polish flag. These are kind of pants. This only deals 4 HE, which means you have to hit an eagle 3 times if you want to kill it. I don't rate them at all for 100 points. They've got rockets, sure. The gun's not bad if you can get into range, but this is autocannon range, so you just die, because the autocannon shoots you, and you've only got 6 HP. So I'd be getting rid of these, and I'd be getting these, because they've got 8 HP, they're 35 points more, but you get a Phalanger, which you do need, because you don't have any ATGMs, and you can't kill tanks. And yeah, I'd be getting, what's the difference? Okay. It's just the rockets. I mean, I'd rather have the bigger rockets, because it'll fire faster and get me out of there faster. Whereas this, you know, to get the same DPS, you got to be on target for longer, so you can shoot more. Oh, actually, it shoots faster, so who knows? Anyway, so that's the way I'd be doing that. And then you can either spend those 3 points we just saved here, which I don't actually recommend you doing, because, you know, if 5 helicopters doesn't solve it, 7 won't either. Or you can get more planes. So napalm is garbage. Please don't buy this. It's absolutely terrible. It doesn't damage units in buildings, apart from the initial HE. So unless you donk them on the head and you'll deal 3.5, they'll just sit there and nothing will happen to them. Everybody else just moves out the way. It can be sort of funny in like a 10v10 or something if you can napalm a road, if you've got your timings exactly right. But yeah, that's not worth it. So you want this AT plane, because you need to be able to kill tanks. It's a damn shame you don't get 2 cards of this. And then I would be bringing 2 more fighters. Like, this is the one for helicopters, but I would honestly be bringing 6 fighters on this division. Because, you know, your AA situation isn't great, as we spoke about. And it's like, you either get 2 more fighters here, or you get 10 more Strelas that don't do anything. So I go for the fighters, and somewhere I save 3 AP so I can get this Rocket 1. The Rocket 1 is better because it's got 3 availability, and this reloads in 16 seconds, whereas this reloads in 6 minutes and 20 seconds. So you want this, but you do need the seed to protect your AT plane, and you do need the cluster to protect, to shoot tanks, right? Protected by the seed, you need all these. But if you can save 3 AP somewhere, like not bringing this grad, maybe. Is that 2? Yeah, it's 2. Well, that's only a 1 AP slot. Uh, where to make these savings? Or you could go 4 fighters and then lose the game, so I don't recommend that, to tell you the truth. You could... You can't really afford to get rid of this. Oh, yeah, actually you could. You could. Sort of. So there you go. You save 3 points, right? And then, but sadly you've only got 4 CVs now, so what you do is you put 2 more in here. And this can be your forward deployed CV or whatever. And then you've got 2 points spare. And then you can get another helicopter, or you can get another recon, or you can get rid of the grad, and then get the rocket plane, and then you've got 1 point left, so you can get another helicopter, just something like that. I mean, all we can do is give ideas, right? All we can do is give ideas, but yeah, you will need Kokons to kill tanks, and you will need it. Whoops. My desk just falling apart there. Yeah. Wow, yeah. So there you go. I mean, I'll just show you the finished version, because that was a lot of moving around there. And also, I would personally be getting rid of this and getting this instead. But just let me know how you get on. Maybe it doesn't work for you. And I really don't like these, but maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work. It's just that the flamethrowers are just crap. Even if you've got 3 of them, they're not very good. And so if you don't get on with that, you could get these, right? Or these, or anything more of these. You could get the anti-tank team. You could get the Nevsky Beretti. You could get this thing. I believe I bring Commandozi, and I always wonder why, because they're not that good. Yeah, whoa, yeah. So that was that. It's just not a very good division, to be honest. It's always going to be an uphill struggle, but this is more akin to how I build it. So then we'll switch to his opponent's deck, which he was called Santa Claus, and he was playing 8th US. 8th US isn't that strong, to tell you the truth. But his fighter got cheaper. Wow, I wonder which genius thought of that. Which really smart person got that done. Anyway, sort of a similar story here. So 2 cards of supply when you've got all this artillery. For starters, this is garbage. It really is. It's just not good. The cluster one's alright, but this is just not good. And then, especially if you're gonna upvet these like this, right, you want to be bringing this. Because it's just better. It's like way better. And you get the same amount per card. So, yeah. So get rid of those 2, get these 2, and then get mortars for smoke. You really do need these. They're very, very useful. The alternative would be to get this, because you get 1 more of them. It's got less range, but it aims faster, it fires faster. So, to be honest, for smoking, this is probably better, actually. Because you get more of them, it's 10 points cheaper. If you want to deal HE, this is better, but yeah, for smoking, this is probably better. It's weird because I actually bring this one because I like the range, but for the sake of 700 meters range, it's 10 points cheaper and it fires faster. The thing is, the smoke scales off the caliber of the weapon, so sort of things to consider. Yeah, yeah. So 2 cards of supply now makes more sense, but still, it's still not enough really, especially if you're stacking heavy tanks and stuff, you're just gonna run out. And then I'd be bringing, yeah, I wouldn't be bringing this CV, I'd be bringing this CV, so you can get 3 This is good for your, like, you put it next to your arty, and it's dead cheap. So you can do it for dead cheap. And we'll come back to this. Inf tab, so ranger... Okay, so there's a lot of heli deployed infantry here. And, like, I think you only need one card of heli deployed infantry, so take your pick of which one you want to keep. I used to bring Engineer's Dragon because I really liked them, and now they're just kind of pants, to tell you the truth. Like, the Dragon 1 is very bad, and they cost 50 points, which they shouldn't, and their availability is not high, and you can get satchels, which you don't actually have any of, for the same price. So I prefer the satchels, and I up them by one so they can actually do something. But yeah, I mean, the Rangers I'd just be bringing in a car. And, yeah. Let's have a look, see. Okay. I just don't like them. If you want dragons, you got your mech rifles, right? So I prefer engineers these days. And I bring them in a car because generally I'm sort of trying to get them into a town as fast as possible. Generally, 8th, I kind of don't like playing at all. So, like, I've played it a lot. I could just never get it to work. You got to be a very, very patient gamer on 8th, and I am not, so... There you go. See, you know, you've got Toe 2s and Itos, and you get a lot of tanks in this div, so you don't really need two cards of this. Generally, you want these to get to positions fast. The advantage of having it in this means that if the artillery shells start coming in, you can load it back into this and it'll survive. So it makes sense. Then you've got, like, more CVs, and then more CVs. So you don't need all these CVs. 3 cards of CVs is sufficient. So there you go, here's that, and then you can, like, you might want an infantry CV, so between these two. Like, you're paying for a bunch of weapons that you don't actually want to be using. If your CV's in combat, something's gone very wrong. So you don't want it shooting a sniper rifle at anybody, so I'd be getting rid of this. Although, you know, if you really want the heli CV guy, then obviously it has to be this one, but I'm not of that inclination, and now you've got a nice fast wheeled CV for the start because this is tracked, obviously, and the tank ones are tracked. Then, you know, you've got 2 slots free here, so you can bring MP Patrol, which is very useful for the recoilless rifle spam. Sadly, no military police vehicle, but they are very useful for the recoilless rifle spam. And then you can bring a second card of Mech Rifles Dragon, which, you know, can be useful for the trying to win the game spam, but losing because they've only got 2 MGs now. Used to have 3 and have 11 strength, those were the days. Or you can just leave this empty, like, do you really need that much inf? So yeah, weren't we getting rid of this? Yeah, we were trying to get rid of the CVs. Because, yeah, you've got your wheeled CV now. And, you know, we're just giving ideas here, right? You don't have to follow it, but yeah, here you go. So you got 5 points spare now. You could put in your extra toes and stuff. But generally, like, you don't need that much infantry. Do you want that much infantry? Maybe you do. Who knows? So there you go. That's just me messing around there. But yeah, you've still got 3 points spare. Artillery, we already covered. These are way better than these, especially if you're upvetting this to only get 1. The advantage of this is that you can get 2 in a single card, and then you could have 1, you know, you could save an AP here, but you don't need to do that. And yeah, this is just garbage. Never, ever, ever bring this. Tank tab. So all these tanks should be at 1 vet or they're useless. If you don't bring tanks at 1 vet, they're useless. Especially if you've not got a military police vehicle following you around. If this goes to 0 cohesion, right, or maximum stress or whatever, it will take about 7 minutes to come back to high cohesion. This will take 3. So it's literally twice as good, which is why you lose half the card. And yeah, I recommend that. And also, these are better now because you can buy 2 in a minute. So I recommend a card of these. And then, because you don't want to be buying these at the start, you want to be getting them late game. Especially given that, you know, I have just half the amount that you can bring. What I see some people do is they bring 1 card at 0 vet, so if it gets desperate, they've at least got 2 more. Which, yeah, you can do, right? So there you go, and then, right, so 2, 4, 6, so you don't actually need this. right? You can take your pick which one you want to get rid of. But this has 3 top armor. That's obviously cheaper, but if you want a cheaper one, you know. Like I said, we're just giving ideas, right? You don't have to do this, and then you can get 5 more of these, because literally you can buy 2 of these a minute. It's very powerful. Or you can get the base M1, which is not so bad, or you can get 2 M1A1s, and there you go. Now you've only lost 2 out of your 12 that was before. You've now got 8. Quick maths. So, just giving some ideas. Don't bring these 3, they're really bad. This thing especially, I see people bring it. It's not got smoke, and it's just not good. It's like, oh, it deals 3.2 HE. Okay. Didn't bring it then, sure. So yeah, there you go. Obviously we lost those 3 AP from here, right? So here we go. So LRS for your opener, very necessary, very necessary. Then even more guys in helicopters. The ACAV is overpriced, but it is pretty decent. The 17 AP, because it's heat, it one-shots IFVs if it hits them. So I'd be bringing this in an ACAV, or I'd be bringing it in this, so you get there fast and you can shoot stuff at 50 cal. So it's up to you. And yeah, 1 vet. There's no point of vetting this because, I mean, unless you're really not bringing 5 in a game, this is so useful for 40 points. Because it's got mediocre stealth, it's got smoke, it's got a 50 cal, it's got a regular tow, which can only one-shot 2 armor vehicles, but it is useful. Because you just basically at the start, you just spread them out everywhere. You don't buy all 5, but generally you need more than 3. So you buy 4. But yeah, you spread them out everywhere and they cover your flanks. Because 8th is a division that just wants to attrition. Sadly, there are divisions in the game which are better at that and can still play wide, which is why I think 8th isn't that good. But yeah, there you go. You don't want to be up vetting this really, you lose too much. Then this, yeah, this is good. I've also seen people bring this one because at the start, if you can get this off, it's actually really funny. It's actually really funny. And then, yeah, I wouldn't be up vetting this either because you lose so much, and this is so useful. This is your only IFV. Well, you only lose 1, right? But generally, these heavy tanks, they've got so much armor that you're gonna want them, they're gonna take hits, and you want them to still be able to shoot. Whereas this, if something is coming towards this, it's only got 3 armor, so it wants to smoke and leave. It doesn't want to stay and fight, and so it doesn't need the veterancy to take the hits and still keep fighting, because it's probably not going to survive whatever's coming the other way. And if it does, you want to smoke and leave anyway. You don't want to keep fighting. So yeah, I'd be down vetting that. But yeah, I really like buying one of these at the start and using it to mess people up, but it can die very, very easily, and it is 120 points, so it's probably not for the faint-hearted. Yeah. This is, as we spoke about, the American snipers are, like, literally so much better than the Polish ones under the same price. So, you could get a sniper instead of these guys, but I like the ACAV for the anti-infantry potential, and, yeah. AA, so this is a lot of AA. So IHawk, yeah, don't upvet your IHawk because it's going to die to an artillery round and then you're going to run out of IHawks and you only gain 5% accuracy. So you want that at no vet really because it's towed and everything. They just tend to die. Pivads, yeah, so this is anti-infantry. You could buy the CS, but for 10 points less you get half the accuracy. So it's literally half as good. So yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Pivads is better. You don't really want to be up there in this. Oh, well, okay. I mean, if you're not bringing more than 5 in a game, then you should up vet it. It's the same with a lot of things. Maybe you found that you were not bringing more than 2 of these in the whole game in 40 minutes, and then yeah, then you might as well up vet it. Same with this, right? If you're only bringing 3 in the whole game, you might as well up vet it. But yeah, the Pivads generally, like, this is your anti-infantry, this is your IFV, so you kind of want as many of those as you can get. And then you don't want the Chaparral, because the Chaparral, like, okay, so its role is that it's better against helicopters than the Pivads and the Stinger. But generally, the roles overlap here, right? So at closer ranges, this does the job just fine. and then this guy can get closer, and it's only 200 meters, and he can usually get closer because he's a man pad. And so I'd be getting rid of the Chappie, and now you've got 2 points back. Helis, so Tow Cobra and regular Cobra, which they renamed to Hog. You can now get an extra card of Hog if you want, or... Oh, it's a 3-pointer. That's sad. You know, you could get that 3rd card of supply, which you'll probably need for your heavy tanks and stuff. You probably need those. And then, yeah, so this is... So this is really bad. Because you gotta fly very, very slowly over your enemy to drop these bombs, and you generally, you don't make it. So I would be getting this. The AT is good, and then you can either get the Seed, which doesn't work properly, but it is nice and cheap, or you can get 2 more fighters, which is very useful. I've seen people use this, because the reload is so quick, 60 seconds, it's actually not so bad. Or you can bring the LGBTs, which is what I do. I actually stack this up. I don't bring that many tanks at all. And then I stack this up so that I get 2 LGBTs and the Weasel and 2 cards of fighters. So that's something else you can do. And then, but I lose, so, you know, you probably don't want to do that. So yeah, you can bring this. This thing is not good at all, but you do get 3 in a card. But, I mean, 3 times nothing is still nothing. And this is only 1 per card, so it's not really that worth it unless you can bring like a full stack. So I'd be bringing 4 fighters because you need to keep your tanks covered. Yeah, that's just how I do it. You know, you can do it how you want. And then this is the finished thing. So with that out of the way, let's cover the deployments and you know, timestamps, etc., etc., etc. Right, so with that out of the way, let's talk about the map and the matchup. I had somebody say, Hippie, why don't you cover... Because I talk about the matchup, right? And they say, well, why don't you cover the matchup specific to the map in, like, greater detail? I do the best I can, right? But basically, if we just get the calculator up here, there are 41 divisions in... Where did everybody go? Oh, it's the wrong... Just edit that part out. There are 41 divisions in this game, so in a 1v1 there are 41 squared possible matchups, which is 1,681 possible matchups. Then there are about 10 ranked maps. So that's 16,810 possible matchups. Of course, in reality, there's actually only 41 times 10. In fact, no, there's actually only 10 matchups because it's always 56Y versus 56Y on whatever map you get in ranked. But yeah, there you go, 16,000 matchups, whatever. So, you know, we do the best we can, but I don't have 16,000 games. So, yeah. 8th US Infantry. No, we're going to talk about the map. I like this map. I think it's really fun. I do think that blue is on the weaker side because this zone is massive. Like, I don't understand what the thought process was here. So, yeah, I prefer red side simply because it's kind of easy to get in blue zone here and just sit there. In these buildings, and then like I've lost 2 games on this map to the same person. Actually, it was T-Man, and he just did the same thing both times because I was on this side both times. It's like you try and defend it, but eventually you know, the BMP2 spam gets you, and then they just sit back here, you know, behind one of the, because you can actually sit behind this and it can still be capped, which is very unfortunate. So yeah. Also, if you're forward deployed, airborne, you can come for Anna or Dimitri, which I highly recommend you do against a slow div like 8th. You should really be trying to use that forward deployed power there. Donkey Kong, kind of a bad div, kind of nothing. It is a very weak div actually. You just, in team games it's really good, but in 1v1 not so great simply because the enemy just, you don't get that many planes. You don't get that many like anti-tank planes. You only get 2 cards, 2 cluster and 2 AT in total. And as we know from the deck review, which you didn't skip, Divinity Slave here didn't actually bring the AT plane. He brought Napalm on instead, which is a big sad. So yeah, you really struggle against enemy armor, and 8th has a lot of armor. I don't like 8th because it's a very slow div, and it's like every game is 40 minutes, and you just got to sit there, and I just get bored, and I attack, and then I lose the game. And it doesn't have IFVs, so it's like you're playing this slow late game, and you're at a massive disadvantage because you don't have BMP2 spam, or Bradley spam, or Marder spam, or Warrior spam, or BMP2 spam. So yeah, that's that. Let's have a look at the deployments. We got a Bradley, which isn't quite on the road here and hasn't actually been pathed, so that's a big waste there, big sad. And we've got an M150, which hasn't been pathed. And then we've got another M150, which hasn't been pathed. So I'm not sure what's going on here at Santa Claus HQ. He's only pathed 3 of his units. So I don't know, like, if he didn't have time or something, but yeah, that's not great. Maybe it's from Red Dragon where you couldn't path the units before the game started, but he's not actually pathed any of his units here. His deployment is pretty wacky. It's just spam Black Hawk infantry everywhere, as we found out in the deck review, and so he's got 2 sets of Black Hawk infantry. The problem he's going to have is that if the enemy opened with a plane, which, judging by the lack of stuff here, he probably did. None of this is going to make it. It doesn't matter if you've got an Ihawk back here, which also hasn't been pathed, or a Chaparral back here that hasn't been pathed, or a CV Abrams that hasn't been pathed. You're really going to struggle. And so if I was playing 8th, I'd have, an LRS going to here, an LRS going to here, an LRS going to here. My main concern is 8th. Also, you'd want something going here, so one of these would do. And you could send one of these over here. Maybe you could send a Bradley over here as well, because he really should attack this, even though he's not doing it. Your main concern, if you can defend this, which is relatively easy to do because you've got the open ground advantage, is this. People are just going to run in here and cap it. And so you just want to defend hard as 8th and just build up, buy your tanks. We know he's got 12 Novet tanks. So yeah, build up and buy your tanks and just attrit, and then try and get in the last 10 minutes or whatever. You're against Airborne, so that's the way it goes. Switch into his opponent's deployment. We got Divinity Slave playing Donkey Kong, and he must have bought like a load of planes or something. Because yeah, basically, so he's got SPG-9s in his deck, and yeah, you want one of these going down every road to try and annoy people. I would have bought one more actually for like this road, or for like this road. You can always buy them later. So yeah, it's cool to buy these at the start. That's sort of what they're for. And then we've got 2 GSR recon. One's going to here, one's going to here. So you've got the forward deployment. I mean, the enemy should have an LRS coming. So yeah, it makes sense to be here, but yeah, you've got the forward deployment. You want to be trying to take a zone at the start, like one zone further than the mid. And so, this guy, if you've got this SPG-9 coming down here to check if it's open, this guy should be literally right behind him, not in front of him. He should be a bit behind him, and then you try and get him into here if you can. You'd also want some forward deployed AA with this, although I'm assuming there's ASFs, because there's just really nothing here. And then, yeah, you'd want the SPG-9 coming down here, another one. And then you'd want to get your forward deployed in there. And then you'd want to get a CV in there, get CVs and just own points at the start. You're airborne. You want to get that early game advantage because it's your only advantage. But instead, I don't know, I'm assuming there's going to be lots of planes. But this is quite a reserved deployment against such a slow div. And then, yeah, it's a CV for Boris, and then he sort of gave up before passing it to Dimitri, and this thing, which, like I said, I don't think is very good. So let's cover the game, and we shall do so from this perspective. So they're off, and it's time for me to drink the blood of my fallen victims. They get the names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. It looks like neither player finished the deployments here, so he didn't buy planes, he just bought 4 infantry and his opponent hadn't passed any of the units at the start. So I'm not sure what's going on there, because obviously but one player must have started the clock and neither player was ready. so that doesn't make much sense. So Divinity just finishing off his deployment here, and he's deploying quite conservatively because he hasn't had that airborne. Like, look how far away he is, right? And meanwhile, we've got Santa in his sleigh here. He's solved his deployment woes now, and yeah, that's the sort of the strangest deployment I think I've ever seen. Neither player ready, and yeah, just neither player finishing their deployment. So here we go. So the planes are out now. But you know the helos have landed. Like, so typically you'd buy it at the start and then you'd just scan and then come back. Whereas now, okay, so he's got 2 planes, but there's nothing to shoot at really. And yeah, that was really weird. I'm not sure about that at all. So this guy can now come and cap these zones. Red is on a +1 with 100 points up because of the forward deployedness of this WD-40 CV. Although, you know, the Rangers are catching up. This one starts to come over here. This doesn't have... okay, there you go. This is the advantage, right? And it's got good stealth. I mean, it's mainly just because it hit there. If it had missed, it would have died. But, yeah, the TOW takes longer to shoot than the SPG-9. So, SPG-9 here has come down to this side. And, yeah, bringing your ITOs in M113s is kind of rough. Because they just take so long to get there. And also, like, triple stack in one building is really not what you want. So this iHawk should be coming over here. Obviously, you've got this problem now. But yeah, it should definitely be on this side of the river, as should the Chaparral. I guess he's just worried about SPGs. These 3 shouldn't all be in one building. They should be very spread out. Having infantry here is sort of a bit of an overinvestment. Typically, you'd want 1 squad here. But yeah, you can have a ranger here, and you can just move them down. The only problem is going to be enemy air. And so this Chaparral, which isn't doing anything, that could come with, and the Bradley could come with, and you could just move all the way up to here, which would actually be kind of useful, because then you can start putting people here. So this is something I need to do more when you're trying to defend blue's side, or attack red side. Just having people here is very useful, because you can shoot across. Not that far because of these trees here, but you can shoot across. You can look across, which is also very useful. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. So AA helo deployed on this M150, and now you're going to see the power of these 80mm rockets. So there you go there, that was 9 out of 20, and it dealt 1 HP. So if you'd fired all 20, it would have done 2 HP, maybe even 3 HP. So this came down in price now, and now it costs the same as this, which makes a lot of sense. But that was just sort of bad micro from Divinity Slave there, and Santa kind of got a bit lucky. But basically, Divinity's longer range missile is better, and Divinity's shorter range missile is better. The difference is that the F-16 has 10% more ECM. So I still vastly prefer the MiG-29. But yeah, that F-16 didn't miss a single shot there. It just hit all 4 missiles, and the MiGs were not both engaging at once. You know, one was just turning the wrong way, and then the other, I don't even know if it shot. So, not fantastic. So, you know, we got some more sort of massed ranger movements here. You really don't want to be doing this, because the enemy can just bomb it, and it will all die. So, yeah. Now you can see the power of this. As you can see, it didn't do anything. And this is probably dead now. Yeah, so these got cheaper. I did like that SPG-9 kill there. So yeah, these used to be 245, which was pretty stupid actually. Wow, this hit something. So you should devet this really. I mean, it's out of everything. It's got 8 bullets left. He's going to use 8 bullets on this SoCal. Okay. So there you go. That was 8 bullets there. Yeah. So yeah, kind of a weird game so far. Red losing 3 planes in 5 minutes is really not fantastic. The coffin launches are extremely useful on this map. And if I was Red, I'd be wanting to push here, because to get into... Well, to be honest, like, this is... He knows this is open. So if I was Red, I'd be YOLOing everybody down here and trying to get in here as fast as possible. Now he doesn't know it's open, but... But he did know it was open, right? And so, yeah, like this would be moving up to here, then to there, and all of this would have been coming down here, because he knew that this was undefended, but instead he's settling in for the long game, and if you an airborne player, that's not really what you want. 8th would have a huge advantage in the late game. Depending. And 8th, the way the 8th player has built his deck, as you know from the deck review, which you didn't skip, he hasn't done himself any favors when it comes to the early game. He didn't bring the M60 tanks. He didn't bring the base Abrams. And so he will really struggle in the early game, which is where Red would have been strongest. But Red sort of threw away his advantage, and now he's like settling in and buying Vasilex. Vasilex aren't very good. So we talked about this in the deck review. I think this is garbage. The only way it can work is if the enemy just doesn't have any AA, because it has to get right over you to drop the bombs. And like the gun's nice, I guess, but you know, if Red has any AA, you shouldn't be making it. The thing is, Red lost his 2 fighters and his cluster bomber, so he actually doesn't have any AA apart from this, which isn't going to do anything. And this is out of rounds, right? So yeah, the so-called will go down there, and he should make it out, really. I mean, yeah, he gets evac'd, but yeah, he makes it out. Like, Strellas aren't particularly good at all, which is why I prefer the gun ones only. And it's got 20% ECM, and it's got 2 armor, which means that a 4 HP thing only does 3 damage if it hits the armor. So yeah, not a whole lot of action going on the sides here. Like, this being here is cool, but you do need to put an AA with it because it killed something, which is great. Right, it was a guy in a transport, so it's a pretty big kill. But then they always send a helicopter, and so you do need AA with it, like one of these. Or the car one, which we know he's got from the deck review, which we didn't skip. So, yeah, trying to get a sniper up here so we can see things. We spoke about this. This is the worst sniper in the game, because it's only a DMR instead of a sniper rifle. I just love drinking the Polish flag. And, yeah, I believe this has probably been spotted. No, well, I don't think it has, actually. But it's about to be spotted. So this has 2 armor, which means that this won't actually one-shot it, and then this will really do a number on it. So, looking forward to this interaction. And it misses. So I got 39% accuracy, and there it goes, yeah. So yeah, it was cool having that there, but you know, you got to reinforce it. It's the same as the one that was here. He got in here, and he could have just barreled down there with all his early stuff, like those 4 Spado whatevers and the 2 Iglas that were bought right at the start, which are all now just sat here. They could have all come down here and just taken this at the start, and then you just keep pumping in the AA, you get some ATGMs, like here, you try and get a recon here if you can, ATGM here, and loads of AA, and you just flood this, and then you would be in this zone. So that's the advantage of those SPG 9 cars, is that it gives you the early game recon to know where your enemy's made a mistake, where he doesn't have anybody. You also see people buying 3 recon healers at the start of the game and just flinging them out in all directions for the same reason, which is why I really like opening fighter now. So he's smoking it up, which, you know, it makes some sense, but it's like, so he's got a massive amount of fire support here, so all he's doing is making it so his fire support can't shoot. So we've got the Vasilek of Doom here, and as you can see, it does literally nothing. So here we go, we got F-16s coming in. This is why I don't like these. I spoke about it in the deck review, like, they just die, and they're not very good. And yeah, he's bought them everywhere to try and defend from the planes, and it just doesn't work. So hopefully the Vasilek stops shooting now, because he's now going to run in. And there you go, so this is how you defend yourself from the air. So this is why I said you should have 3 cards of fighters instead of 2. So he's only got 2 fighters left, including this one. And so there you go, it destroys the building before it actually does any damage to the people. And yeah, so by smoking it, nobody else can help. So what you want to do, really, in that situation where you've got loads of fire support, and you want to be shooting, like this could move up as well and like shoot. This could move up and shoot. Is you smoke behind it, and what that does is it isolates this, and then you can kill all of them. But it's still working, right? Mainly because the blue player keeps buying silly things, and his reinforcements take a long time to get there. So, and yeah, the SPG-9s, you know, I was hating on him, but he's got a lot of value out of that. I guess the car ones are, you know, something else. So this, you know, should really be in the forest, but he was trying to move it up, right? Anyway, these Komars, this only has 1 armor now. It used to have 3, so yeah, it would one-shot it. And yeah, so he's got in, so it's worked. Where's that going? And yeah, Vasiliks are really kind of pants. They're really bad. Just get the WP thing. So he bombs his own units there, which isn't fantastic, really. Yeah, he gets out though. And the reload on that is only 2 minutes. But yeah, he sort of blew up his own unit there. Cluster doesn't do a lot to infantry. It deals like 1 or 2 damage, and you saw that he had 1 or 2 health left. So this should be going to this building. It shouldn't be just running over the open and getting shot by this over and over again. This should be in this building. Because like, he was almost at this building, and then he just decided to come back over here and get shot a bunch more, which is really sad. So here we go, more A10s purchased. He's taken issue with this particular bush here, this particular tree. Who knows? And yeah, so the AA it doesn't really exist. It hasn't really moved up. So basically, you know, you'd want to move this up to here, move this up to here, move this up to here. Just walk forwards and see if anybody shoots you. So quite surprised that these A10s weren't used to just kill this. One did sling a AIM-9 mega missile on its way out. But yeah, I really don't like the A10HE. A bit late on the fighters there. He could have got him. And yeah, so, you know, guys in buildings beat guys not in buildings. And here we go. So he should just 2v1 him, but so he didn't use his range advantage there. And like, because look, this has more range. These have more suppression. I believe it also gets 2 more missiles, and it costs the same price. So it is the better plane. It's just the micro there. So like this should be in this building. Oh, to be honest, it should just be running away. And there you go. You see the power of the napalm there. Napalm is garbage. It doesn't do anything. They don't take any damage over time if they're in a building. I'm surprised. Okay, I can't see that. So yeah. Don't bring napalm planes unless you've got some really funny early game napalm the road strat that you've cooked up and you've got the timings down to an exact T. I assumed that was what was going to happen this game because there was no deployment at the start out from him. I was like, oh, he must be like napalm in a road or something. But no, it was not to be. So yeah, just out of infantry there, just sort of like not spending the income as fast as one could. He obviously doesn't know it's open. That's definitely not what you want to do if you don't know it's open. Just sort of show your rear to the enemy there. But yeah, you've got some infantry here, right? You just move this in, move this up to here. Sniper, you know, it's got to stay safe really, but you could try and move it up, move this up, move this up. You just got a lot of guys just not doing anything. These coffin launchers would have been really, really useful in that fight because he could have just nailed the rangers because they're all in one building. But you know, just not doing anything, right? So you got to keep all your stuff going. These are terrible, just really not good. Yeah. And there you go. So the Ito wouldn't one-shot that anyway because it's 20 pen, so this has to be like 9, 8, 6 armor. 18 will one-shot 4 armor, which means 19 one-shots 5 armor, which means 20 one-shots 6 armor, and this has 11 armor. So if it was a sideshow, I would have got it. So yeah, just giving the enemy time to reinforce here because you don't want to move is obviously not great. Like, you've still got that. You could have moved this up and just seen if there's anybody left. Move this up, you know. But I don't know. Like newer players tend to have this thing where they're just like, "Oh, that was difficult. Right now, let's recover." And so all your all your hard-won gains just get pissed away, basically. Like Red had him there. He had broken this. There's nobody here. And you know, Blue assumes he's here, which is why he's deploying all his stuff back here. But he's just not capitalized on it at all. So you know, you hate to see it, but it does happen a lot. And so that's why I think it's important to cover games like this, because most of the player base doesn't have 2,500 hours in this game, and so like this is more. This is probably an above average game. Most people never even search 1v1. Most people don't play multiplayer, and those that do play 10v10. So this is very optimistic. He does actually get it, but he will die for it, and it wasn't worth it really. And you know, the fighter could have gone a bit more on the F-16, but I know he doesn't want to fly with these Eyehawks, or I assume he doesn't. So yeah, there we go. So Red's moving back in now, but you know, he could have used some other stuff. So now he's smoking up, but you know. So now he is smoking up behind, which makes more sense. Yeah. What can I say? He could have moved this up. He could have been in there. Could have been in there. Could have been up. Could have been in there. This guy will presumably go into this building in a few seconds. And Red is the only airborne div that gets heavy arty. So he also gets the Pion, which is not very good compared to the Malka, but it's still pretty good. And so I would have expected, particularly in an entrenched battle like this, there we go, where nothing's really moving very fast, the Pion would have been useful, the Grad would have been useful. But as you know from the deck review, he only has 2 cards of supply, so we can't actually keep him shooting. We haven't actually seen... This is the first supply I think I've seen in the whole game. Never mind, there's one here. So yeah, having supply is good. And yeah, for Blue's sake, like these guys shouldn't just all be sat in one building. You don't leave ground on the table. Space is a resource, and you want to use that resource. This is probably not very smart. I mean, it's going to get shot. I assume this was going to strafe it there. Yeah, here comes the bomber. We'll see how far it makes it. And yeah, like this is just sort of running over a field there. This would be really useful right now. This, I think you could move this up, you know. Yeah. So yeah, ground is a resource. You got to see ground as a resource. So that, yeah, you're flying over the Eyehawks now. This is probably dead. Oh wow, okay, gets quite lucky there. Survives 2 Eyehawks and 2 Stingers. This is too far away to do anything useful. Napalm out. Wow, it does literally nothing. Incredible, incredible. But if they rout, then they start running out of the building, and then they run into the fire, and then they get hurt. So that is something, right? You see it's taking damage there. But yeah, napalm not particularly useful. Don't bring that. So the T-55s are just sort of shutting down the infantry here. And this is why the M60s that he opted not to bring are so useful. And it's sort of a similar story for Blue as it is for Red. There's just a lot of guys just not doing anything. Like, a lot of guys. And, like, so what... You know, this is a pretty expensive unit to have hanging around doing nothing. This could have been over here strafing, like this is. And another thing you get with players that haven't had that many games is that what they'll do is they'll buy loads and loads of infantry, as we just saw, and then all the infantry will die to tanks, and they're like, I need a tank, and then they'll buy loads and loads of tanks, but the infantry's dead, right? You got to buy some more infantry, so like 1 tank and some infantry, 1 tank, some infantry, you know, a bit of AA. It's hard to get into the habit of it, but it is a great way to improve. It is to not buy 5 of one thing and then 5 of the next thing. Okay, that pivot is in a pretty good spot. So, yeah, I really don't like these. This was probably the one that was here. I think I already mentioned that. And yeah, this could be healed up. But Red, he's in the zone. He's on the +1. He's making good progress. His combined arms is a bit better than Blue's. Like, Blue really just lost that on the basis of just... I only buy infantry and my tank is all the way over here not doing anything. You know, if the tank was moved up, he could have killed all the T-55s. Wow, that looks very pretty. Oh, it's a shame about that. But yeah, that napalm plane, he didn't make it. Vasilex, as you can see, pouring it on the pivads and doing literally nothing. No, I really don't like the Vasilek. And Red's winning. So it's up to Blue now. Like, what does he want to do about it? Well, he's still in, oh yeah, I need tanks mode. So here's a third tank. Here's a fourth tank. But, you know, he needed the tanks when his infantry was alive. Now he needs infantry. So, yeah, just marching in a bunch of tanks without recon, probably not going to go very well. Having said that, this div really does struggle to deal with armor, which is, you know, sort of its main weakness. In this matchup, I'd much rather be playing 8th. Well, okay, on a personal preference level, I prefer DK, but if I wanted to win, I'd be playing 8th, especially with those reduced price M60s. You know, mech rifles getting a little bit cheaper. It's almost like some guy, some bloke, who doesn't like 8th at all, sat down and played like 30 games of 8th, and then he was like, "Oh, this div needs some help. Here's what I would do hypothetically." This random guy, not me, right? This random guy, and he was like, "Oh man, the Sparrow, the F16, that's too expensive. That needs to come down. The mech rifle's probably about 5 points too expensive on the Dragon variant and the regular variant. The M60s need to get a little bit cheaper, really. A little bit more available. A little bit more available on the Abrams." Whoever that guy was, he must be really smart. He must be so smart that he doesn't do unpaid QA testing for a video game company instead of doing his you know, whatever he has to do. Maybe it's a PhD thesis, you know, just like hypothetically. But yeah, I don't know, whoever that guy was. Well, what a hero! But I don't think Divinity Slave is appreciating that right now, because he has to put up with this new and improved 8th. So there you go, double Strela there. They are max vet, because the CV's buffing them up by 1, which is pretty intelligent there. Typically, you don't want to just unload them on the road like that, because it can just kill you. But he does win that fight. These do have RPGs, but they ran out. Just sending this one. And so he's just sort of like standing next to it to look menacing. There we go, he gets it. I think it must have been this, and then just immediately reloaded. Because these obviously didn't have rounds. So we see the Grad here. He can't really afford to use it too many times, but if you, because he's only got 2 cards of supply. But if you buy some, you want it shooting, really. And yeah, so blue CV is actually, like, he could have just moved this over, but these guys are just having a party in here or something. No windows, like what? Okay. So I recently installed a second stick of RAM, and my FPS is much higher now. I'm not sure if it comes through on the recording, because the issue with the recording is this is you see the Pivads beats the Topaz there. It is more expensive, and yeah, Red's AA is really not fantastic. The problem with the recording is that there's a chip in my graphics card which, you know, can only go so fast. So it's like a dedicated recording chip. So here we go. Grad's going on the Abrams. You see the Vasilek are already there, providing morale damage to the Red player as he sees his units just not really do anything. So Santa here bought another CV instead of just sending this one over. But really, if you're Red, you should be trying to push here as well, because basically it's like real life. You don't want to get shot in the side. You don't want to get shot inside the side for a lot of reasons. Number one, you know, side armor on tanks isn't as heavy, but also it means that your vehicles coming up and down get shot and stuff like that. And so, you know, whichever player wants to would gain a lot by capitalizing on this. So, you know, blue could push up to here and start shooting people in the side, like get an Abrams between these, and then you can just shoot people, right? And red would be more pressed to do that because he could come in here. And blue's still on, oh man, I need more tanks mode. He's still just buying tanks there. Seed plane going in on the hog, doesn't get it, and now it's very dead. Very dead there. And he really wants that dead. Sadly, he's sacrificing his whole air force for that one helicopter, which is not really worth it. And yeah, another thing he could have done there is peeled off this way, and then he wouldn't have exposed himself to this Eyehawk and this chaparral. Well, I probably still would have shot him once, but it wouldn't shot him twice, right? So like all of these would have only got one shot off instead of two, and this wouldn't have got any shots off if it. Well, maybe it would have got one. You probably still would have died, but you know, it's about increasing your odds. So Red's doing a pretty decent job of just buying things, which is honestly like 3/4 of the game. Just spend your points. And he seems to have that locked down, whereas Blue just keeps printing these Abrams, and it's just not on at all. It's just not working out for him. So he's now bought... He's got 2 CVs there. Here we go, he's starting to move up, but he's blobbing again. Like, this is all going to die to one bomber, one helicopter, whatever. One tank round is going to damage all 3 of those squads. But at least he's using this ground, right? But typically, you know, you'd want a bit of recon in there first, right? And here we go, he's deploying some other stuff. In fact, he's just sending everybody, so this is kind of empty. Oh no. This thing is absolutely terrible. It's definitely not what you want to be buying when you're this far behind. You want frontline, really. You want loads of mech rifles, loads of recon, like LRS. I don't think we've seen any LRS this game, even though we know it's in his deck. And then, you know, you get the recon for the tanks, right? It's like, this can't shoot back because it doesn't see it. This man can apparently see something. There we go, coffin launcher used. No, it goes in the water. What can you do? Made a really cool sound, though. Did make a really cool sound there. Anyway, M60 here goes down. I'm not really sure how that happened. Yeah, I'm just not sure about this at all. Just a fast-moving 3 Abrams down. Oh my god, you got bailed out. It wouldn't have made too much difference here, to be honest, given that he just can't shoot back, so he can't actually see. But this is why you put the Recon Bradley with it, you know, you put the other stuff with it. But yeah, that is obviously not fantastic. You got the CV with the A10 there, so... yeah. Anyway, you know, but Steiner's counterattack's coming in heavy here. You see that the power of the Vet 0 Abrams, that was boosted to Vet 1 in the last second by this Rangers, but they just get stunned straight away, and then they're just never useful again. And Red, he's doing the right thing. He's just buying stuff. He's just buying stuff and throwing it in there. He's got the tick. It makes perfect sense. Like I said, I wish he'd seized this ground and used this ground, but you can't have everything. Topaz doing Topaz things, that is to say absolutely nothing. Here we go. See the effectiveness of this now. I mean, look, it kills things, especially if you get it close, but... Hello? Whoa, that was cool. That was cool. Another coffin launcher there. But yeah, it's just not worth it, really. And now it's going to spend 3 minutes reloading. Seed plane going for the MLRS. Could have killed this on his way past, but chose not to. And I'm not sure about that. I mean, this is not going to destroy that, really. This is armoured. And this is just a gun. It's not an AT plane. So, somehow he gets out. Never mind. I was going to say, probably shouldn't, but it's actually because this is empty, and this is empty because this isn't actually near enough to resupply there. And yeah, another thing Red could do is, you know, push this, and Blue could do it as well. You always want to be trying to outflank your enemy. It is hard, because you got to take guys off the front line to do that. But could you imagine if he had more of these? Like here, you know, all the way down here. Could you imagine if Blue had some, like a Bradley CFV here? For starters, all his tanks would have actually been able to shoot, so just running in. But, yeah, you got to use the sides. It's sort of the same here. Like, this was a really good move. Look, he sees that. He sees it. He knows it's coming now. I just wish he'd sort of capitalised on it more. Basically, you just always want to be sort of, like, either knowing there's an enemy in front of you or finding out and then running away and artillerying it. Also, yeah, I suppose he can't really afford to keep this supplied. He's only got 2 cards of supply, and yeah, I don't know about Blue's play really. Just too many tanks, not enough. Like he bought loads of infantry, And that made sense, but he could have bought like one tank there as opposed to all that infantry, like had slightly less infantry. And then he could have, you know, reinforced with combined arms, but instead he was like, oh, I've bought all the infantry I need now, and then he just bought tanks for like the next 6 minutes or something. And it just didn't do him any favours, really. I do think Red could have bought a few more T-55s to mix in with this. Like, he did basically just buy infantry, but, you know, it worked, right? So, like, he had combined arms within his infantry, in that he bought AA infantry, he bought ATGM infantry, he bought SPG-9 infantry. But yeah, he could have done with buying a few more T-55s into that blob. Maybe he ran out, actually. Might have run out. A bit more fire support. But yeah, it looks like Red swept the zone here. And with 8 minutes left, I'm just not sure what Blue can do here, really. Do wonder if this was like a ranked match or a friendly. I assume it was a ranked match, because neither player was ready. And you would assume that in a friendly they would wait for each other, although, you know, not all friends are created equal. So here we go, Rangers coming back in here, and there's not actually anybody covering this. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there is somebody covering this. And, you know, there's a lot of guys just not doing anything here. They could just walk forwards here, in the same way that they've walked forwards here. So yeah, I mean, the guys that get in, they've been spotted now, presumably. And yeah, just get in range and shoot him, maybe. I suppose this has a dragon, so maybe you don't want to. Okay. So yeah, there's probably enough AA here now. And there, down it goes. Yeah, if you put these right behind this, they won't actually shoot, because this will block their vision. And here we go, they've all been spotted. 3 in the same building again. We're onto the PT-76s now. Red still opting to just not attack here. Could be on a +2. Or more, you know. I did like this, though, the fact that he ran some guys all the way down here. That made sense. Right, here we go. So M240... M270. So, yeah, at close range, I don't know if they... I think they might have decreased the minimum range. Pretty sure it didn't used to be able to shoot that close before. So maybe at close range it can work. It's just... yeah, I'd much rather have the M110 or the other one. But yeah, Blue literally has like 7 units left on the map. Like 2 of those are empty supply trucks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. He has 9 units, 7 not including the supply. So all Red really has to do is just keep pushing, but I don't know. He wants his enemy to bleed out slowly, I suppose. And yeah, he knows where the enemy is. I guess these are probably out of rounds, yeah, and this is out of rounds. He can't afford to resupply it because he's only got 2 cards of supply. So there we go. He's brought this up now. And it dies to Chaparral, which, yeah, okay, fair enough. This should really be unloading. Yeah. So there you go. You get it for the gun, right? So the Strela component is just a waste of points as far as I'm concerned. They're not actually shooting. They're trying to run away, so I'm gonna die there. And here we go. He's attacking down here now, but he's got a lot of guys just sort of not doing anything. You want to deploy all your forces. You want them all fighting all the time. In an ideal world, right? And so this group will eventually lose. I mean, he could just hide behind this and buy himself another few minutes, but I don't really see the point. Like, Red is 1,000 points up. This game is pretty Jova here. So yeah, with 5 minutes left, I mean, Blue has now bought some infantry. Incredible. And yeah, it just comes down to that. Like, don't buy 6 of one thing and then 6 of the next thing. Buy a couple. Wait, I saw Red doing that as well. He just bought loads and loads and loads of infantry, and he was like, oh yeah, I need 5 support, and then he bought all of these at once, basically. Yeah, what can I say? This isn't one vet, so it doesn't lose its cohesion as fast. It will lose this fight because it's getting side shot now, and it is being outnumbered like 7-1. And there you go. With that going down, chooses to surrender. So yeah, GG. We got Divinity Slave here. That was his 6th ranked game. Is that a Roblox avatar? And we got Santa here. That was his 12th ranked game. So yeah, pretty new players. Actually pretty similar. I suppose, well, 159 is more than 35. But yeah, pretty similar. As that one we spoke about at the start. So yeah, I hope you learned something from this game. Yeah, it's good to cover newer players because most players are newer players, and so there's a lot of things that you can learn, right? But yeah, it's about sort of spending your points and trying to just buy mixes of things as opposed to just one thing. So yeah, I'll see you around. GG.